Hello, welcome to Q&A with Paul Chek. How are you? I've got a bunch of questions I will work through. We'll go one at a time, naturally. The first one is from Ryan Jackson. He says, what is your opinion on wisdom teeth issues and removal of them? Why are these issues arising in humans so commonly, not having space for them? I've been curious about this one for ages. Okay, we'll go through these one at a time. What is your opinion on wisdom teeth issues and removal of them? There's a few factors that actually relate to the second part of your question. First of all, if a person's wisdom teeth grow crooked or if the teeth are impacted, it can actually weaken the jawbone. I've known of a variety of cases in my career where people actually ended up with a fractured jaw because the angle and depth of the wisdom teeth, being unnatural for that person's jaw, weakened the jaw to the point where maybe they bit down on something hard and it fractures the jaw. So there's that issue. Two, there are often, as most dentists and biological dentists will tell you, growth and development issues that can lead to disruption. And I think that relates to your second question here. Why are these issues arising in humans so commonly, not having space for them? If you look all the way back in the late 40s, I believe around 46, in the early 50s, Francis Marion Pottenger identified something that correlated directly with what Weston A. Price identified in the 30s and early 40s, but she wrote about comprehensively in the book Nutrition and Physical Degeneration and shows lots of pictures. And you can also go to the pricepottenger.org website, and they have a library of Francis Marion Pottenger's and Price's works and much more. It's an organization you can join or look into. But Francis Marion Pottenger identified what's called the rule of thirds, which I teach through the CHEK Institute training program, particularly in our Integrated Movement Science 4 training. But what the rule of thirds shows you is if you take your index finger and thumb, and these are called anthropometric norms, which is how our bodies are proportioned. If you put your thumb up against your index finger like that, if you have normal craniofacial growth and development, that should be the exact distance from the bottom of your chin to the bottom of your nose, from the bottom of your nose to the bridge between your eyes. Your finger will fit right in there perfectly. And that should be, then the thumb should be placed right between your eyes where it naturally fits. And that should go to the top of your forehead or where your hairline typically is. So these thirds should be equal for normal craniofacial growth and development. What Weston A. Price showed, and then Francis Marion Pottenger backed up with more medical quality research, was, and what Price did was he went and studied native tribes all the way back in the late 30s, where he could still find native tribes that were pretty much untouched by white man's foods and ways. And he looked very carefully at their dental formation, the quality of their teeth, their maxillary arch, the proportions of their face, and just basically their general overall health. And what he found is within the first generation of people eating what they called then white man's foods, which are classically the four white devils, which is white flour or processed flour, white processed sugar, which we typically think of as table sugar, any pasteurized dairy, or sodium chloride, which is salt that's had the mineral components taken out, because 97 or 98% of salt manufactured is used in chemical manufacturing, but then they sell it to you in the stores as salt, which is sodium chloride, and then they take the minerals out and sell it back to you in bottles through stores like GNC and others. So they do the same thing with the flour. They take the wheat and the germ and they break the grain down into its components. So you buy wheat germ and you buy bran for fiber. So that it's just a little food industry trick to triple their income off of one source. So what Weston Price showed is that within one generation of eating these four white devils, you could see malformation of the jaw, you could see serious problems with cavities, or what are classically called dental caries. And then the first offspring started having malformation, so teeth that didn't fit together and disruption of the rule of thirds. And Francis Marion Pottenger said, whenever you found a disruption of the rule of thirds, it meant one or both parents were malnutrition, and so they were not able to get good gene transcription. Back then, before we had a lot of genetic knowledge, they called it a germ spore injury. And so if you look in older medical books and books doing research on these types of things, you will see the term germ spore injury, which is the same as a genetic injury. In other words, the body cannot reproduce itself properly. The most common obstruction of the rule of thirds is a short middle third. Sometimes the maxillary arch is too small for the mandible, and so you can get malocclusion. So the answer to this issue is we're seeing a lot of teeth crowding, and orthodontics today is a booming business because of all this, because we are having abnormal growth and development of the bodies of human beings due to genetic disruption, due to essentially being malnourished from eating too many processed foods. If a person does have wisdom teeth that are causing crowding and stopping the teeth from fitting together properly, that can cause malocclusion. Your body is extremely sensitive to the teeth fitting together, because once you have your adult teeth, that's your last set of teeth to last you for life. So you have periodontal ligaments, you've got the trigeminal nerve and connection to most of, if not all of, your cranial nerves through various different nerve pathways. And the jaw is very linked into the upper cervical spine as well. So once you have malocclusion and your teeth don't fit together properly, it causes compensatory reflexes, which I describe in the CHEK totem pole. So if you just search YouTube for CHEK totem pole or the CHEK totem pole, it shows you the hierarchy of control systems and why we need to be aware of that, and why CHEK professionals are trained how to assess people based on survival hierarchy of control systems. The key thing is, if you have to take the wisdom teeth out to get the teeth to fit normally so that you have normal occlusion, that's extremely important, because if you have malocclusion, your body will begin to make adjustments in each and any system in the body in order to keep the teeth from wearing out too quickly, or because in nature you would starve to death without your teeth. So it's a very deeply ingrained protective reflex pathway in the body that has multiple connections throughout the body. When people's teeth don't fit together, their motor function is disrupted quite significantly. You could look into the two volumes called The Collected Papers of Irvin M. Core, who was a famous scientist and physiologist who was hired by the American Osteopathic Association to investigate how and why it was that osteopathic and chiropractic manipulation could cause so many amazing things to happen, and illnesses and organ dysfunctions and pain to go away. And so he did a lot of comprehensive research, and in one of his studies he has a multi-channel EMG with, I think he was using a 30 or 32 channel EMG. So he had EMG leads connected to muscles all over the body, and then he put tiny little shims and showed that even a 1 millimeter shim, like piece of tinfoil on a tooth, would change motor recruitment throughout the whole body, and that literally the body would just go crazy with all these compensatory reactions. And most of us have had the experience of getting something like a sesame seed or a piece of popcorn husk stuck in our teeth, and our tongue will almost wear itself out trying to get that thing out of there, and it's very, very irritating to us, because even a tiny disruption of occlusion causes significant changes in motor function. And because the teeth are higher on the system of hierarchical reflexes than the upper cervical spine, the body can make changes in the position of the head in order to try to get the mandible to fit better under the maxilla. So the mandible floats, it moves. So if your body needs your head in a position to move the mandible to make the teeth fit together, it will. So then you can get people that have strange head postures, or rotated or flexed, whichever direction they need to make their jaw go. It's easy to see that if you just lightly click your teeth together while sitting in good posture and see how they fit. You should have one clean click. But if you have malocclusion, all you got to do is turn your head a little bit, and now this side of the teeth are hitting sooner than that side. If you tip your head down, now the front teeth hit too soon. Tip your head up, now the back teeth are hitting too soon, because the musculature, the submandibular musculature, has tension in it, so it's moving the jaw around. So why that's important to understand: if your teeth aren't fitting together, your body will change your entire structural alignment in order to try to get those teeth to fit together, which means that you can now have an inability to breathe effectively and efficiently because your rib cage isn't in an optimal position. It means that your atlas axis complex is not sitting in the right place, which puts torque on your spinal cord, and every single nerve path in your body passes through the foramen magnum and the atlas. So if the atlas is out of alignment, it can, through the denticulate ligaments, put tension on cord tracts and disrupt gland and organ function and muscle function throughout the body. So the point being is, if you have wisdom teeth causing crowding and leading to malocclusion, it's very important to get it fixed, because if you don't, the long laundry list of problems that can cause can send people to doctors and therapists literally for the rest of their life. And I couldn't even count the number of people I've identified these issues, including professional athletes, who I've had to go to an orthodontist. I prefer biological dentists or orthodontists with biological dentistry training, because they're a lot less invasive and have a lot more skills of doing things, shall we say, more naturally and with better systems. And I've seen athletic performance increase radically. I've seen chronic long-term pain disappear just by getting the occlusion functioning. And one side note is the eyes, the ocular system is very wired into the upper cervical and the jaw system. So problems with the eyes can actually disrupt the teeth and the neck, which it then disrupts the whole body. So it can be teeth disrupting eyes and atlas, atlas disrupting teeth and eyes, any one of them or any combination of them. And today most people have all three of them going on at the same time for many, many factors that have to do with diet, lifestyle, and growth and development disorders. So hopefully that helps you understand. So the punchline is if you have problems with your wisdom teeth that are causing crowding and potential for malocclusion, it's good to see a skilled biological dentist for an evaluation. And if you need an orthodontist, they will tell you a good one, a safe one to go to. If you have a disruption of the rule of thirds, it means you need to read my book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. Take my online training program, which is CHEK Holistic Lifestyle Coach Level 1, which is basically an advancement on how to eat, move, and be healthy. There's also an Eat, Move, and Be Healthy online training program, because you have to do this healing work from the inside out and get your nutrition right and get your diet and lifestyle factors correct. 2, if you have the right combination of events in your mouth, and a dentist would tell you this, you could have yourself set up for a jaw fracture when you least want it and least expect it. You could just be eating away on a piece of tough steak or gristle and bite down hard enough that your jaw just fractures. And as I said, I've seen multiple cases of that in my career. So there you go. You got some homework to do. And now you know what CHEK professionals are all about: looking into these things, identifying exactly what's going on, who the client or patient needs to be referred to so they can get the right help, and helping people live and love more fully so that they can feel good, look good, live good, and share it with everyone else. Check out the CHEK Institute, CHEK Institute.com. Oh.